so much for the opportunity to be with you this morning to share our point of view from our company on our low-code and pro-code. Sometimes we refer to pro-code as YesCode, the low-code and the YesCode journey to take on this emerging market, which is the operational analytics using some of the modern backends such as GraphQL, Cube.js, and so on and so forth. So a little bit about myself. As you can see in my background, Dr. Murthy introduced me as the CEO of Kleeen Software, and I have a surprise for you on this conference. This is a very special moment, and I'll just reveal what the surprise is. And it's something to do with the logo and the name Bhuma that you see in the background. So before this, I was running products and design for one of Apple's company called Claris, which has been pioneering the low-code movement for more than 2 decades with a product called Claris FileMaker, and with about 50,000 customers and 1,800 partners. And in fact, this is where the low-code journey has started about 25 years ago, empowering the citizen developers to build the custom apps that we need. So I was there for about a couple of years. Before that, I was very, very fortunate to be part of many successful companies, and most recently we were part of building a company called Sky High Networks, which is a cloud security company, got acquired by McAfee in the CASB space. So let me jump right into today's topic, which is about the low-code and YesCode to take on the emerging operational analytics. So let me share my screen.
We can see Mr. Gurrapu.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes, yes.
Excellent. So, number one, the company Bhuma, and we talked about Kleeen Software, and this is my team, and I'm very fortunate to announce on this Global Low-Code Conference that we are changing our company name with our expanded vision to take on a bigger market opportunity, and we are renaming the company to be Bhuma. Bhuma is a Sanskrit word, and this is my team. So this is my team who makes it all happen. And I'm very fortunate to have a fantastic team in Costa Rica, and they make me one among them. In fact, many of them, or all of them, call me as Tikomai, means I'm one of their dudes, the native dudes. And as you can also see, yoga is one of my passions. You could see one of my passion of doing yoga in some of the beautiful nature settings in Costa Rica. So very little about our company Bhuma. Our focus is to build front ends for operational analytics, which we refer to as an insight-first apps. I'm going to share with you what we mean by insight-first app. We cater to both low-code and YesCode, or low-code and pro-code. In other words, our primary segment is developer persona, but also some of the business and the professional developers who are grappling with some of the modern backends, where they're very comfortable about stitching together different aspects. We are investing a lot in integrating with modern backends, particularly the GraphQL and modern middleware stacks. And we are very, very fortunate to have been funded by some of the top tier VC firms in the Silicon Valley. AI Fund, founded by distinguished Andrew Ng, and First Base, NeoThrive, and SVDC, and so on and so forth. And the team has been together for about 30 years, and we are known to have built some of the modern backends for pretty much all of the top tier networking and security companies, whether it's Cumulus Networks or Aruba or HP and many of the networking and security companies that we know. We have been building modern front ends to make all these products alive. So we've taken all that experience to build what we believe is the next generation front end building tool for operational analytics. So what do we mean by Bhuma? Bhuma is a Sanskrit word. It actually means vast, limitless, expansive. That's truly our audacious claim. That's our vision. And that's an aim for not us, that's for our customers, our developers, so that we can actually envision limitless opportunities and realize building the custom apps for operational analytics, and which is one of the most dominating and probably the most emerging market opportunities that we all collectively can pursue. So now let's look at what do we mean by our opportunity for building front ends for operational analytics. So for example, if you were to look today, I'm a big believer in the low-code movement. Low-code movement. Today, if you look at the market statistics, on the average, every organization is now wanting to participate in this digital transformation. If you look at it, whether you're a dairy farm, whether you're a retail shop, whether it's a transportation company, whether you are a technology company, every company is a digital company. And in fact, every person, every employee that works in the company that is working towards creating a new business outcome should be viewed as a developer. And if you look around, in fact, Wall Street Journal, so the trade press talk about the need for every year, almost we need about 600 million plus custom apps that need to be built to adequately showcase their own, every company's unique differentiator, their idea to serve their customers and partners, to build a custom application. But at the very same time, COVID only further accelerated the need for this. In fact, I've been talking to a lot of development agencies around the world, and all of them say, like, they cannot hire people enough. They cannot hire people enough to serve the demand of, whether it's airline companies or retail companies or across the board. On the average, if we're only producing about 100,000 or a little bit more of people with computer science degrees with all the skills that are needed to build these modern digital experiences. In this market opportunity, where we need a lot of these custom applications to serve the needs of hundreds of thousands of customers worldwide, low-code is the only solution. Low-code is the only solution to be able to respond to the needs of the market. And in fact, I was listening to some of the talks from the previous thing. Low-code is no longer about building simple applications. And I've been working with customers where we actually build the entire transportation system of one of the biggest transportation agency in Asia Pacific. In fact, one of our customers who actually are building, some of the electric vehicles, their entire customer service and EV energy, management is all done by a low-code tool. So if you were to look at the front end, so if you look at the gamut of the custom apps that need to be built across all customers, across all industries, and if you look at the history of how these applications have been built, and we need to look at it from two dimensions. One is the data complexity, and then the second one is the user experience fidelity or the complexity. The first generation applications were all about, taking some simple data from Excel or some simple, small tables, and then it's all about data entry, and we call these as tabular applications. And then the second generation was people wanted to get some information, some interesting statistics about how these applications and this data is working for the business. So people started building some static reports, and then modern SQL databases and like relational databases. And then now we are entering into the data-powered businesses. People wanted to get more insights about how is the data working for them. And that's where BI-centric, where people have been investing in a lot of data warehouses, cloud data warehouses, such as companies like Snowflake. And then it's all about getting BI and the insights. But today, it's not just about getting historical insights. It's about getting live, real-time actionable insights. So this is where the traditional BI is moving into operational analytics. And in fact, if you were to go look at some of the reports, market reports, in fact, one of the reports from Kleeen at the beginning of the year about their predictions for 2022, one of their papers calls out that the next big opportunity is operational analytics, where the BI is going to be tremendously disrupted into creating this next generation BI with some of the folks this call as operational analytics, where it's not just about getting historical insights from your data warehouses. It's about giving live insights and making real-time decision making so that we're constantly pivoting to achieve the business outcomes. And to achieve that, we need a completely different architecture, both from the back end and the front end, and to be able to build a semantic analytics layer where we are able to, continuously monitor the data, continually work with the data, and to be able to collect the analytics. And this is the opportunity that we all collectively can go chase and can go, prosecute this opportunity. So now, when we are trying to build these applications to cater to this operational analytics, and when we start talking to the engineering teams around the world, we see that they are being challenged with four dimensions of the complexity. Number one, what is the right framework to even think about this new world of operational analytics centric applications? We sometimes call this as an insights first application, to be able to give insights and to be able to act on it. And then the second one is the data complexity. Today in the organizations, it's no longer just about data warehouses. Your data about your customers, your partners, or your internal data is now spread around many data sources, not only the traditional structured data, but also unstructured data, which is a core of operational analytics, such as logs, and then SaaS services like Salesforce and so on and so forth. So the data complexity is across two dimensions. One is the diversity of the data sources that you need to bring together to be able to then go factor into your operational analytics, kind of a dashboard or an application. And then the second one is the scale. We're no longer talking about the gigabytes. In fact, one of the company that we built in the cloud security space, I was ingesting close to about 1 gigabyte of data for one customer on a daily basis. So the complexity and the scale of the data is very high. So the engineering teams are struggling. How do we actually harness this data coming from many data sources and also the scale? And the third one is when you're building the application, particularly on the front end, you also have to, oftentimes the most neglected thing is this infrastructure, like the security, rollback, logs. And in fact, many of the applications that are built over the time, the things that always get prioritized and deprioritized are log management and things like role-based and the security, and which is critical foundation that is needed, internationalization, so on and so forth. And the last one is the complexity of the tools. As a UI front-end developer, there are so many different frameworks that are emerging, whether it's Angular or React or even some of the applications are legacy. How do you blend all these together? So this is the world that engineering teams have been challenged with. Oftentimes the problem is you only have trade-offs to make. Either you deliver incomplete products or in products with some of the trade-offs in terms of security and the right infrastructure and the performance. And this is where we now need new types of tools, like a front-end tool, a low-code or a YesCode tool that gives enough infrastructure so that the developers can quickly drag and drop and then focus on conceiving and building the operational analytics application that they need to meet the needs of their business. And only low-code can solve this. Only low-code and the pro-code can actually solve this. And this is a $100 billion plus market opportunity. In fact, when I look at all the venture capital reports, this is one area where there's a lot of investment that's going in across all the different categories of the low-code. So now let's look at how Booma is prosecuting or pursuing this opportunity to help engineering teams and the developer so that they can get ahead in building the operational analytics app, custom app, and the dashboards so that they can meet the needs of their business, so that they can continuously empower their business users to continuously go with actionable insights and get their outcomes. So very simply, Booma is the center of three big trends that are emerging. The first one is what we talked about, The low code is the only way to meet the needs of today's organizations to build the custom apps that we need. And particularly the UI UX resources are the biggest bottleneck. And then the second one is this movement going from the BI, from the data warehouses to the operational analytics. And then the third one is the evolution of the modern development frameworks. We've been investing in modern development frameworks like Vercel, Netlify, GraphQL, there's a Hasura or Apollo or StepZen and Cube.js to bring together all the different types of data sources and make it available for the developers, particularly the front-end developers, to harness the power of data so that people can take actionable insights. So Booma is at the triangulation of these three big opportunities. And how do we do this? And very quickly, we're introducing a new development paradigm, what we refer to as insights first. This is not about putting a lot of charts and throwing all kinds of information. And then you would then have to hire an Accenture or Deloitte to go make sense of what does all this information mean for us, and how do we chase the outcomes. So we're introducing a new paradigm which comes down to 4 steps. The first one is visualization, and it starts with knowing exactly what application that you build, and using the agile software framework, you should always know exactly what persona and what outcome that you're trying to get to. And then in the visualization comes with pre-built widgets that gives you the KPIs and the rich charts and the visualization, where that clearly tells you where you are with respect to the business outcome. That's step 1. So as a developer, we would want to make sure that every developer builds their application targeting to the business outcome, so that you don't need a Deloitte or Accenture to make sense of all the screens. Only the developer can actually embody the entire business intelligence and codify that, make it as the first level experience in their paradigm, in the front end that they're building. It starts with visualization, directly mapping the KPIs and the visualization charts that clearly tell you where you are with respect to your outcomes. And then the second one is, once you know where you are, then you want to figure out, the question is like, why is something not moving to, not happening the way that I envisioned? Like, for example, one of our customers is an electric vehicle manufacturer. The 2 outcomes that they have is to make sure that they continuously produce vehicles on time. They have a certain milestone to achieve. And then the second one is they want to make sure that they reduce the maintenance cost, and the vehicles that they ship also be available on the 95%. Then you clearly map the KPIs, the widgets, and the visualization that clearly tell you whether you're on target to achieve the business outcomes or not. Once you know that you're drifting apart, then you want to be able to search and the query as to figure out why something is not working. And then the third one is, just the search and the query may not give you the insights. And from my experience in the security world, sometimes you have to drill down of the many contextual workflow to find that needle in the stack, to precisely identify the reason for why particular thing is not happening. We call this as an investigative workflow. And then once you know why you are not aligned with the outcomes, then you want to be able to take the corrective action, remedial action. And again, every software, every application that we build using Booma or in the operational analytics world, it has to tell the story to the business very clearly, very succinctly, with few screens. It all starts with persona and outcomes, and then visualize, interact, investigate, and action. And then this has to be built on modern backends. And this is where we are making a huge bet on organizations that are trying to consolidate, make all their data available using any one of the modern backends, whether it is Hasura, StepZen, or Apollo, using a GraphQL, or it could be TypeScript and REST API, or Cube.js, or even the customer data management platforms like an mParticle that integrate, that bring together all the data from your SQL, NoSQL, log sources, and SAS sources, and then make it available as one GraphQL endpoint, or one or more GraphQL endpoints that you can simply use that in your application of the front-end developments. So this is a new paradigm that we are introducing with Booma. And I hope as the developers, we take the front end role, we take the leadership role in actually building new modern experiences that clearly tell the business, whether it's an executive or anybody, tell you exactly the software speaks exactly where you are, but also not only speaks, it gives them the steering wheel so that the software can then align to make some outcomes, guarantee the outcomes. So very quickly, these 4 steps. The first one is visualization. So we have pre-built widgets, and that basically tell you exactly where you are, and using any one of the GraphQL endpoint, and then see whether it's Hasura, StepZen, or Polo, or you can also use Qt.js, and you simply point to it and then drag and drop and then simply write the GraphQL query. And then that's number 1. And then you can actually do the interactive query. You can slice and view the different data using many of the visualizations. And if you're a GraphQL developer, and this is something that is a playground that you would love to leverage and get all the insights that you want. And particularly, depending on the GraphQL backend that you have, you can also leverage the heavy computations and the semantics that is either built into your GraphQL backend, or you can also do that within our own front-end framework. That's step 2. And number 3 is investigations. And this is where this is a very unique concept. And this is something that we had to build through a lot of resources, almost like a team of 10 to 15 developers to be able, in the security world, to be able to allow the SOC administrators or the SOC operators to precisely go identify the contextual workflow as to why a security threat has happened. So like, for example, if you have some time, and I'll see if I can do a quick demo of this. In the security world, we had to figure out if there is an insider threat. But insider threat is not one query. It's a collection. You have to pivot on many different contexts. Like, for example, users logging in from different locations, and then what type of activity that they're doing, and then what type of documents that they're actually doing, and then what type of devices that they're doing. And then does it have any sensitive data? When you correlate multiple different contexts, then it will show light on, hey, potentially there is this insider threat happening. And then once you know that particular user, then you can take a corrective action, like to be able to then go perhaps terminate the user, or do a multi-factor. And all this capability in my entire experience, this was exclusively limited. This kind of insights first app building experience, it was only available for some number of people, like large companies with a lot of investment. Like, for example, companies like SkyHigh and Netscope, or some of the large technology companies. Only those people have access to building this kind of operational analytics dashboards. With Booma, what we're trying to do is we want to democratize the power of building such applications by giving you a kind of a Visibig tool, but it's not a Visibig tool as a developer. You feel like, I don't have anything to do. No, we need the developers with deep understanding and the sophistication of understanding GraphQL. How do we integrate it? But more importantly, start building experiences that actually directly tell the story of the business and allow the business users to use the application that you build to quarterback and get the outcomes that you need with 4 steps: visualize, interact, investigate, and take actions. And even in the actions, today, if you look at it, in the last 10 years, organizations have already invested a lot in procuring and deploying these solutions, whether it is iPaaS or RPA, where every action is automated using a workflow automation tool, whether it is Automation Anywhere or Blue Prism or UiPath on the RPA side, and then on the iPaaS side, whether it is Zapier or MuleSoft or MuleSoft acquired by Salesforce, or PG, which is now Google, or Microsoft's Power Automate. What we are doing is not only you can do the custom actions within your own operational dashboard, but we can actually integrate and invoke these actions that are already pre-configured in your own workflow automation stuff. So Booma, the front-end building platform for developers, it allows you to build the new operational analytics application experiences that make everything possible by giving you visibility and the outcomes that you need, and then to be able to interact and investigate to drill down why something is not happening, and then immediately go take the corrective action. And it's a continuous cycle. It's a continuous cycle. So that every operator or every user that's using the application that you build, they can actually self-service and be the quarterback of guiding the business outcomes. So this is the opportunity that we represent. And again, this is a point of view from Boomer. This is our approach, and this is something that has been very close to my heart. And I was hoping that every software that was built, every application that built, communicated this insight first app paradigm. And in some sense, Apple actually through their watch and other things, they always communicate that kind of a design experience. And we hope that we play a critical role in democratizing this and giving all the developers around the world give this capability so that we can build this modern operational analytics dashboards and insights first applications, so that every organization can participate in the digital transformation very quickly. And at the end of the day, this is not marketing. And when we launch our website officially in Q4 with our new Boomer product and so on and so forth, we are a company that's built by the developers for the developers, so that we can create this insights first applications for the modern operational analytics. And again, our team is the trusted advisors that you can actually interact using your own GraphQL, using the language that we talk about. So I seriously mean it, no BS, we are developer, we are building this for the developers so that the developers be at the center of creating this digital experiences. And again, stay tuned for more developments and follow us, and please feel free to reach out to me. But we are very glad to have had this opportunity to be here at this conference, to tell our story and to reveal our new identity about Boomer. And again, we are for all of you, the developers.